troops. The question, if anybody asks you about that, just ask them then, why do the troops support Ron Paul more than everybody else? I was drafted into the service in 1962 during the Cuban crisis, and I remained in the Air Force. I was in for five years. But during that time, I had not thought out all the answers and questions about what foreign policy would be, but I did my very best. I went, I served, but it was only afterwards that it really dawned on me that policy is what really counts. To put our young men and women under the circumstances that we have done is so precarious. And just think of the sadness of what is happening today. The thousands being killed, the tens of thousands being wounded and injured, the hundreds of thousands now begging and pleading for help in our Veterans Administration, the post-traumatic stress syndrome, the brain injuries that are going on, the suicides that occurred, the financing of this is ongoing. This is why, when it comes to the issue of war, it's probably one of the most important things that a Congress and a president should weigh and be extremely careful not to get involved. In 1998, our policies changed. Our policy at that time changed to that of getting rid of Saddam Hussein. Even though he had been an ally of ours for many years, and we tolerated all his shenanigans, but in 1998 said we have to get rid of Saddam Hussein. But they didn't have enough, they weren't able to get enough support for this and get the people behind it. But guess what happened? After 9/11, the support came. Remember all the stories we were told, the nuclear weapons he had, the weapons of mass destruction, the Al-Qaeda being in there? It wasn't true. So, of course, then the big argument was that we had to go to war. I was on the international relations, and I thought, now I have a different responsibility. So I could tell, obviously, the war propaganda was marching us off to war. So what I offered to the committee was, look, I don't want to go to war. I'm not going to vote for this authorization where you say the president can do whatever he wants. If you want to go to war, do it the right way. Declare the war and make sure people are on record for it. The other members of the committee didn't want to have any part of it. They were very annoyed, and they were annoyed when I called for a vote for it, and of course nobody voted for it. But the chairman of the committee at that time explained to me, he looked at me, he says, Congressman Paul, I know you know something about the Constitution, but let me tell you, that part about declaration of war, that is anachronistic. We don't have to follow that anymore. Tells you so much what the problem is all about in Washington, whether it's economic policy, monetary policy, foreign policy, the protection of your personal privacy and personal liberties. That is the reason we do not have enough people in Washington who understand and will take their oath of office seriously. So the answer should be, don't send anybody up there until you're convinced they know how to read and they know how to understand and that they tell you the truth and will obey the Constitution. This certainly would take care of the monetary issue. The Declaration of War in Article 1, Section 8 is very clear. It spells out exactly what things we're allowed to do. We do need a whole lot of re-education on the Interstate Commerce Clause and the General Welfare Clause. But this is necessary for us to understand what the role of government ought to be. That's why we had a revolution. The revolution was they did not like the role of the king. And quite frankly, I believe we're putting up with more authoritarianism from our own government than they had to put up with the king of England. We're sworn into the military or sworn into office, we take an oath to defend against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Today, let me tell you, we do not have to lie awake worrying about anybody invading this country. Believe me.